It's still not on. Yes, I'm
Yeah,
on.
it didn't say it's on. No. Maybe it's not connected on my end.
Should be live right about now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Here we are again, and this time we're finally going back to what we're supposed to be doing. Checking 3 episodes of Sonic X and a bunch of comics. This time the
Hooray!
Sonic the Comic UK Fleetway comics, yes. And because that's so British, we need double the British this time. So we have a special guest, Ewan, on for today. Say hi, Ewan.
Hello, Ewan.
There you go. The classic joke. So you know he must be one of my friends if he has such a terrible sense of humor.
Yes.
Alrighty then. So this morning on the street, some guy came crawling to me, desperately wanting to know what Luke's opinion was on Sonic Origins. So Luke, let him know.
Oh, Sonic Origins. That's the re-release of those old Sonic games. I suppose it's good for the new generation of Sonic fans with new extra bells and whistles. So if you never play the Sonic games again, or if you're one of those people that want to get every single version of the old Mega Drive Sonic games, including Sonic CD, then I would recommend it. I mean, I'm not sure if I want to pick it up because I already got it on Sonic Mega Collection and Sonic Gems Collection. But for anyone else, I suppose you can check it out.
You can never have too many.
No.
Yeah, knowing how the classic Sonic games, they keep kind of pretty much getting ported onto every single console.
But yeah, apparently it's gonna have a story mode about tying all the games together. What do you guys think about that?
That sounds very interesting. I'm most curious about what the new cutscenes are going to be like, because it's been hinted at that they might all be Sonic CD styled cutscenes, which that would be very interesting. And they've also made a change to the Sonic CD opening, which that I'm gonna be interested to notice. Also, they've placed Sonic CD before Sonic 2 in the timeline, which I guess makes sense because Tails isn't in Sonic CD, but on the other hand, that means that Metal Sonic gets a notable downgrade in Sonic 2.
Well, to be fair, Sonic CD does involve time travel, so I guess Robotnik could have cheated and went with a later version. Makes little sense, but...
Yeah. I suppose in Sonic Adventure, it's implied that Robotnik made multiple Metal Sonics.
Yeah, so the one in Sonic 2 could possibly have just been... Yeah, so the one in Sonic 2 could possibly have just been a prototype.
But yeah, I don't get it why, just because Tails isn't in it, it has to be a prequel. I mean, can't Tails just sit one out?
Right?
I mean, he's tinkering in his workshops, sorry Sonic, I'm a little busy now, or maybe he just didn't know about it. Does he always have to be stuck in Sonic's ass all the time? Let the poor guy have his own life.
Yeah, Sega is known for making a lot of weird decisions, especially nowadays, how they're very insistent that Team Dark is not a thing, which is pure bullshit with all the evidence that we can back up with that.
Right, yeah.
Oh, well. Crazy stuff.
Hopefully that'll also get cleared up in a future episode of Tails Tube.
Yeah, I wonder. It's not gonna get cleared up in the games, I think. I doubt Sonic Frontiers is gonna do much world building.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll chime in my thoughts with Sonic Origins. So don't I must say it's it's another compilation that we already have, but hey, at least there's something a little more different here. At least here I'm kind of glad they actually did show Sonic 3 gameplay in widescreen like they promised, unlike what happened last time they showed a trailer for that. But yeah, it looks like they're doing a few things. There's a story mode. Apparently Ian Flynn is involved with helping out the story mode. And they seem to take some at least taking like the Christian Whitehead versions of the games and just put it on consoles. Because I know a lot of people say those are like the definitive versions of the classic games, but so far they've only been released on mobile phones. Which, funny enough, I just recently like downloaded them just to try them out, and yeah, I don't know. It's taken me a while to get used to it. It's like, it's touch screen, but it's like, oh, one side you move the analog and the other's the button, so it's a little bit clunky at first impressions. I'm just more used to playing mobile phone games where you just tap the screen and that's it, or slide it.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. Do I sound better now? I get complaints that my sound was too low, so I tinkered a bit.
Yeah, you sound good.
You what?
Yeah, you sound alright.
Alright, should be good then. Just wasting a little bit of time before we start with the real conversation. You have any thoughts on... Oh, wait, you already said about Sonic Origins. Yeah, I'm not... Yeah?
I haven't said anything about Sonic Origins.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, give him a chance, boy.
I mean, like, I know the fact, like, me and Luke are British, but we don't exactly sound the same.
Wow, it's hard for me to tell.
Well, we are both Essex lads, but we're not like exactly the same.
Exactly.
Hey, Roger gets me and Luke confused sometimes too, so...
What?
Shame on you,
What?
Roger. Shame on you.
Yeah, it's happened.
I did not know that.
Not cockney enough.
Yeah, I think Roger should sit in the corner and think about his actions.
Look, I'm an old man, okay? Don't mock my dementia.
Well, at least you admit you're old.
There you go. I'm probably the oldest among you, so...
Perhaps.
Oh,
Yeah.
oldest of all of us.
So you're looking forward to Sonic Origins?
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. I suppose there's like some sort of little bit of like, not major drama, but one that just makes people go like, oh yeah, when they're like, with Sega basically pulling a Rockstar by delisting like the old Sonic games just before the Origins collection gets released.
Oh yes, as if the pre-order and deluxe digital stuff, as if we haven't had enough drama with
Yeah.
that.
At least
I
you get a
suppose
warning for a month ahead, so you still have
Yeah.
plenty of time to...
As well as like, at least we know that these are like the Christian Whitehead mobile ports that we're getting, which, is always considered like high praise. But what about the poor people that want to play the original sort of game, like the true original sort of stuff that you could download on their Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3s? Like, you monsters, Sega! What are you doing to us?
Just have a Mega Drive Mini and download some extra ROMs. Crybabies.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection on PS3, that's kind of more of my preferred way of playing the Sonic Genesis games, and that's just mostly because of the fact that all of those games have a save load feature in that compilation, which is very helpful if you're going for like the 100% route with getting all the Chaos Emeralds. So, you enter a special stage, you just save, you go through it, if you screw up, you just load and start again until you get the Emerald.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'm very curious about the story. So I guess that means I finally don't have an excuse to make a parody of Sonic 1 and 2 again, because I always said I can't do a parody of them because they don't have any story, but that's gotta change now, I suppose. And redo Sonic CD and Sonic 3 Knuckles again.
Could I just say, you've done an amazing job with that, recreating that Sonic Adventure 2 parody entirely with action figures. That must have taken very long time.
Oh yeah, that was neat.
It didn't take too much time, but that was fun. I tried to
Yeah, it
film
was
as
great.
much...
I could say it had a lot of effort put into it.
In some ways, yeah, since I filmed on location, but the animating the characters itself was super cheap and lazy. But that makes it funnier anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. An interesting remake. Like, of course, it wasn't the first time you felt like remaking a Sonic parody. Because I feel like the Sonic Heroes and Minutes cartoon, that's technically a remake of your Sonic and Other Madness 3 video you did years ago.
I suppose, even though it has a completely different structure, but this one I kept a lot of the same structure and jokes. Although it's not a shot-by-shot remake, but...
Yeah. Because the fact it's longer this time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually tried like fiddle around with the video, the remake of Sonic Adventure 2 in Minutes, just to like try and sped up the audio, just like how it was in the original version. But yeah, I don't know. I have to tinker around with it. That was just something I did out of boredom.
Sure, go ahead, make a YouTube poop or whatever. Always fun.
Well, original version, like a YouTube poop version, would be like a lot more crazier.
And hey, maybe if I visit you guys in England next time, we can film a live-action Sonic cartoon together. Might be fun.
Yeah, real life Luke the Fox.
With Ewan's Transformer collection, we can have a lot of epic robot battles.
Yeah. Too many pointless battles.
Although I'm pretty sure Ewan will not approve if I go handle his toys as carelessly as I did my own. Just dragging them through the sand and all that.
Yeah, because I imagine some of them must be like really like hard to find, like the older figures or stuff.
Probably, yeah. All right, I think we spent enough time now. Shall we get to the point? The big Sonic X points.
Return of Sonic X stuff.
Is it really that pointy?
Yeah, well, it's Sonic the
It's
Hedgehog,
very
right?
pointy.
Well, Sonic and Knuckles are in there, so of course it's very pointy.
There you go. Pointed statement, indeed. So, who wants to do synopsis of first episode? Or the 27th episode?
I'll go for it.
All right.
So, the episode starts with Big the Cat, shockingly, which I guess is also how the first episode of the first season began too.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Big the Cat's making his grand reveal since that moment, and yeah, he's just hanging out with Froggy, and Froggy finds a Chaos Emerald, and it's absolutely tiny in Big's hand, by the way. And then Chaos Piece finds Froggy and just dives down his stomach, which was very interesting. And now Froggy has a tail. But that all aside, it goes back to it. We see the president on Air Force One, and that's where it's finally revealed that the big cliffhanger from the last season was basically nothing. Because Chaos Control, instead of bringing everyone to Sonic's world, just brought Angel Island to Chris's world.
And Mythic Runes, apparently.
And yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they do at least mention something about that, like as a tourist attraction.
Yeah, because I don't think Mystic Runes.
I thought it was
mentioned
implied
before.
that both of the worlds have merged or something.
Yeah, well, the parts of the Enfer world got in Earth, yeah.
Something like that. It kind of threw me off because Chuck talked about Mystic Ruins so casually as if it was always there.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
that's true.
I suppose it would have had to have been brought in from Sonic's world.
It's also disappointing we never see any other life on there. I mean, I guess it's implied Till's workshop happened to be there, but there's no other Mobians there.
Yeah.
But sorry, we keep interrupting you.
No, I'm that's okay. I'm just trying to remember. I just woke up a little bit ago. So yeah, okay, so Eggman has built his E100 series robots, and this is the first appearance of animals powering Badniks in Sonic X, and apparently Deco and Boko are really impressed with the idea, so I guess this is not new, or this is new for Sonic X Eggman. Also, the E100 robots are huge here. They absolutely tower over Eggman. And also their weapons are cut to their final designs instead of how they were originally. Okay, I'm getting off topic. So Eggman, yeah, sends them out to find Froggy.
Literally.
Okay, so Chris goes meets with his mom. She has a Chaos Emerald, and she gives it to Cream, and she's, I guess, convinced that Cream is actually a human girl inside of a rabbit costume.
Still, yeah.
And so that's weird. And they try to tell her that Cream isn't a rabbit, but she's gotta go. She's busy, and she gives them the Chaos Emerald. And Chris says that they should take it home and show Sonic, even though Sonic isn't there. He's gone missing.
For 6 months.
For 6 months, yeah, nobody's seen him. He's just going around whistling at places.
Yeah, it was so random, yeah.
Yeah.
So on their way home, Cream and Chris run into Big, and apparently it takes Big all afternoon to explain his and Froggy's names.
Well, considering the fact that he talks so slow in Team Sonic Racing, I guess it's no surprise.
If this was Team Sonic Racing, I would believe that.
Well, in the Japanese dub, he does talk very slowly. Fortunately, in the English dub, they make him a little faster. But yeah, especially in the Japanese version, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good. There's at
very
least
annoying.
there is at least something positive that can be said about Oliver Wyman's performance here, because I hate it.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's a big for you.
So then Chaos shows up, Chaos Zero, and interestingly, Cheese is like happy to see him. That's cool. That's nice foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
And here is where Sonic Adventure's story starts, because Sonic shows up, and then Chaos attacks some police officers, who in the Japanese version shoot at Chaos. And in the English dub, they just immediately run away.
Yeah, because
I especially love how in the dub, like the police are like, "Get ready, boys!" and then Chaos takes one step and they all run away.
Yeah, it was fine showing police shooting guns back in like the late 90s or so, but in the 2000s, nope, guns are bad.
I'm impressed they even had guns, like actual realistic guns. I was expecting 4Kids to just have the characters just point at him or just have squirt guns or something.
Stay where you are, we'll shoot you with our invisible guns.
Or hair dryers.
Yeah, literal hand-gestured guns.
So Sonic defeats Chaos Zero just like he did in the game. And then Eggman reveals himself immediately this time, instead of like being on top of a building for some reason. And he just immediately throws a Chaos Emerald to Chaos. And then, yeah, he talks about like Chaos only takes orders from him, but like that's never explained. I don't think that was ever explained in the game either. That
No, not
Chaos
really.
is just obedient to Eggman for no reason. So that he gives one Chaos Emerald to Chaos, and then he gives another Chaos Emerald to Chaos.
I guess it's
And
nice to
so-
show his two Chaos Emerald form that we never get to see in the game, I guess. Even though it
These are
doesn't.
for
No.
you, my friend.
No, we've
Right,
seen...
I love
Yeah,
that
we've
sound.
seen
Yeah.
Chaos... Yeah, we've seen Chaos's second form in-game. That was like a boss battle that you could fight against Knuckles.
Yeah, but then he had 3
Yeah.
emeralds already, but we never saw him with only 2 Chaos Emeralds.
In the games, we saw Chaos 1, 2, 4, 6, and Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that I'm wrong.
Yeah, we never saw 3 or 5. And so, yeah, Chaos 2 is giving Sonic and Knuckles quite a run for their money, because he is incredibly powerful. And he has, like, weird electric powers that I don't remember from the game.
Yeah, that was really confusing.
Yeah.
And then Sonic performs his coolest speed feat in the show yet, and just, like, absolutely blitzes through the entire city at light speed and turns into lightning, and then strikes at Chaos 2 and obliterates him.
Yeah, although it does kind of debunk a theory I had with Sonic X, where it kind of felt like the only way Sonic could go into his spin dash mode is with a power ring, but here he can do it just fine without one.
Yeah.
Can we appreciate how strong Chaos Water is? Because he destroys entire buildings just with spraying water on it.
Oh
That's
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Chaos takes Power Watch Simulator very seriously.
Just don't hire him for that sort of
I-
work.
And now I hope somebody draws fan art of that, please.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Mike Pollock also had an epic scream at the end when he suddenly like, I love that scream of his
Oh, yeah.
when he's upset about Chaos defeat.
hmm
So, yeah, it's an interesting way to ease us into Sonic Adventure's story.
Yeah, pretty good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty to talk about, I guess. First thing I wanted to mention is how it's kind of weird how they actually put Tails and Amy back in their own homes, since they already live with Chris. I guess to make it more accurate with the game. Except that they barely even do anything with locations. I mean, we talk about Tails' workshop in the next episode, but we cut to Amy having her own apartment, and the only thing
It's got no flat now.
yeah, and the only thing she does is just complain that she's lonely. Then why did you move out then?
Just waste money on a mortgage.
And
Yeah,
that was the only scene. And that was the only scene we see her in her apartment too.
Yeah. well, that's well, never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say we do see it again, but that's like in the Japanese version of like a much later episode.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough, but yeah, for now it feels so weird. Especially since in the game there was never all that much emphasis the fact she lived in an apartment there. I think only the hotel owner mentioned it one an optional piece of dialogue, so it's not like such an important part of the lore of Sonic Adventure. I mean, I kind of like the idea she lives in an apartment, but I wish they kind of did more with that. Like, okay, what is Amy's plan here? Does she have aspirations? Does she want a job in the city? Does she want to be more self-reliant? But we never really get an insight on her. She just randomly moves to her own apartment, and like I said, she immediately complains she's lonely, so it just feels kind of random and a bit of a wasted opportunity to, explore her character a little bit more. At least I like the English version for making her a little more neutral. Like in the Japanese version, she just talks about Sonic. I miss Sonic. Sonic, where are you? Well, the English version at least gives her a more general thing. But
yeah, and then of course in the Japanese version, when she yells out, "Oh, Sonic, where are you?" instead it's, "Oh, Sonic, you idiot."
Yeah.
I just found that funny.
Like, you're the idiot. You move out, well, then you're lonely.
Could I just say how it is, from my opinion, how it seems to be a massive improvement over the first series, and how it's a pretty decent animated adaptation of Sonic Adventure, and it kind of has some parallels to Sonic the Movie 2, how it's a lot more closer to the games, and how the human characters have lesser screen time in favour of the animal characters.
Sure, that's true. It's a very interesting episode, very intensely plotted and all. But of course, hey, it's based on Sonic Adventure, one of the best Sonic games ever, so kind of goes without saying. But yeah, I massively enjoyed it, yeah. What is it, Sala? Captain?
Oh, yeah, it does make some changes to the story, but only like really minor ones.
Yeah, like well, one detail I already noticed is that when the E100 series robots are being displayed, there's only 4 of them. Yeah, the E105 Zeta is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I guess they don't get too much screen time here anyway. But there's enough of them. It's kind of sad that Eggman makes his most powerful, intense robots ever, then gives them a pathetic job, find Froggy, and even though they succeed, he still kills 3 of them. For as punishment, they didn't get the right frog, even though only one of them could even find a frog in the best scenario, so it's a bit of a waste. But now I'm kind of spoiling for later episodes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting it, and that's kind of the problem with this. Like it's like a 6-parter, so all the stories kind of intertwine later on. But yeah, focusing on this episode, I have to say I absolutely love the scenery. Like the city at night looks amazing. I love the color scheme. Like the purple buildings and all that. Like I really love how it looks.
There was also a bit where Chris and Cream meet Big, and I think they're trying to get a conversation out of him. And then suddenly it cuts to like near in the sunset, and they look pretty exhausted. So we don't actually experience them going through what they're experiencing. So it doesn't really affect that much. Like, oh, we're trying to get a conversation out of you, but we don't actually see it. Like maybe at first we should see like Big struggling to explain it, or that. They're struggling to understand him, and then they cut to him like, finally getting what they want to hear.
Yeah, I see your problem. In the English version, they don't really explain it very well. In the Japanese version, it's more clear because Big really talks slow and annoying, so it really doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, the English version is much more hyperactive, so it's just immediately cut, so it kind of ruins the joke, I guess. But I guess it's maybe for the better, like the captain said. It's Big the Cat is already an annoying character, so make a joke deliberately about how annoying he is a bit overkill.
Yeah, because after the time cut, all Chris has managed to gather from that is that Big's name is Big and his frog's name is Froggy.
Can you imagine?
One other thing I noticed between the versions, it's more of a minor change, but like the scene when Chaos is attacking the police cars and whatnot, I guess he must have swallowed a lion because he starts making like lion growl noises when he's attacking. It was like roar, which is weird because it's not in the Japanese version.
I guess
Yeah.
They just wanted to make it cooler, I guess.
that is something I noticed because like Chaos doesn't really make noise. He like maybe makes like a bubbling noise every now and then, but like here he actually growls for some reason.
Yeah, it was so weird.
He even talks like a normal person in the Fleetway universe.
Ooh, that's gonna be weird when I get to
Oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fleetway's Sonic's version of Chaos is very different from how he's usually portrayed.
Well,
Very
that's
much
can be
so.
said about everything in Fleetway, but we'll get to that later.
Um,
Yeah, anything else? Yeah, I need like Chris Martin is kind of weird. He still doesn't get cream. I mean, we.
oh yeah.
He also repeated that thing with the jewelry, with the Kells Emerald being something of jewelry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a repeat of an older episode. It's true.
Yeah, that was so weird. And then, of course, another weird bit is like this brief segment that's only in the Japanese version. That's well, it's very brief, but let's just say Amy's not the only one that forgot to wear her panties.
Jeez, is that really such an important detail to bring up?
Well, you know me,
Multi-man
pointing out
ability.
like minor details constantly in the Japanese version.
All right, so someone else showed too much below.
I did. Speaking of tiny sexual details, I did notice that 4Kids didn't censor Rouge's boobs in this episode.
Yeah, like from what I've heard, like 4Kids is very inconsistent with some of the editing. Like, oh, sometimes they'll censor her boobs, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll censor the English text, sometimes they won't. Yeah.
Speaking of the scene with Rouge, it was so weird for me to see Mr. Stewart along the other agent. I think this is the first time we see him actually along his colleagues. Usually he's always alone. He looks so out of place when you put him next to the other actual officials.
Yeah, it's still like he looks.
Yeah.
He's wearing his teacher disguise.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his actual just uniform.
He wears one outfit.
And good to know, well, he's a cartoon character. Chris also does. Good to know he's still a creepy stalker, considering all the private photos he managed to make of Sonic and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Knuckles just chilling there, yeah.
But yeah, if there's one thing I learned from this episode and kind of makes me sad is how the characters feel kind of empty when they're not on an adventure. Like I said, Amy just being in an apartment completely empty and soulless. But even Sonic just spent 6 months like just whistling. It's like they kind of feel like empty characters that don't have anything to do when there's no adventure going on. I have to give Sonic Boom credit. That's the only time where we actually see Sonic spend like leisure time and it feels relatively realistic. Then again, that's the only thing that happens to Sonic Boom. But in the other series, it feels like the characters have absolutely no life or existence beyond stopping Robotnik.
Well, at least Cream seems to be happy with Chris.
That's true.
Happy Cream is always good to see.
Yep. Learning how to cook.
In fact, now that I look at those like images, I notice like Knuckles like hovering over the Master Emerald. It's like, is he trying to glide, or is he just pulling off what Knuckles OVA did and just floating midair?
Huh? What are you talking about? Who's flying?
The photos that Mr. Stewart presents, like, oh, Sonic's friends are doing fine, and I just noticed the ones with Knuckles. So like, there's one where it looks like he's just hovering over the Master Emerald. So I don't know if he's like just jumping in midair, or if he's just repeating what Knuckles OVA did.
That's a good point. That is a random photo. And it does look like the photos are specifically drawn for this shot, and they're not like recycled from other episodes, so
Yeah.
that does kind of make me wonder what that's about. That's weird. I have to give credit to the animation team. They even went out of their way to draw like completely new scenes for just this quick shot of the photos. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Nice view of Tails' workshop, where I sometimes can't tell if that's supposed to be like one building or if it's like cut in half. So like the rooftop is just sitting on a ledge and the bottom part is on a different ledge.
I do find it a bit weird how they changed Tails' workshop from looking like an actual workshop to looking like an alien hovel, like something out of Star Wars.
It's really confusing, yeah. But yeah, I guess I'm going to talk about it the next episode when we actually get to visit it. But yeah, quick little cameo now. I also wanted to bring up just a quick scene where the Eon and the two robots fire a bunch of fake Sonics. I kind of wish the Sonics looked more derpy, like Eggman actually had those dumb-looking dolls like in the game. That's more like Robotnik's sense of humor, where he has like these derpy Sonic dolls laying around. But still, I love the fact he has a bunch of like fake Sonics to shoot at as target practice. That seems such a Robotnik thing to do.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But yeah, you have anything to mention about this episode? You haven't talked much yet.
I don't think I have really much to say about it because I only just recently watched the episodes and my only response was towards it's like, oh dear, the Four Kids voice acting, I kind of forgot about that. Because that's pretty much the version I've been watching
Fair
like
enough.
today. So obviously I'm still a little not there yet in terms of like having much to say. I mean, it might change later on, but
I'm getting used to it, and they're much more flexible
Yes.
than they were in the game, so that's always impressing me. Like especially, like I said before, Mike Pollock's scream at the end was epic. I absolutely loved that one, so it really impressed me with that. Also, there's this one shot of Sonic being drawn extremely weird that finally makes me feel good about my terrible drawing style.
Oh yeah,
Like I don't know if it's
Yeah.
on screen now.
yeah. Basically,
that one.
yeah. It looks like this is what Ken Penders would do when making a Sonic anime.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
It's more human size, yeah. So hooray! I draw just as good as professional Sonic artists. That's good to know.
But thank you for reminding me about the Four Kids voice acting. I think Jason's finally starting to get the hang of this. He's sounding more and more like Sonic.
Fair enough. He doesn't have the
Yeah.
weird intonation anymore, where his voice goes up
Yeah.
at the end of every sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but strangely enough, in this episode specifically, Dan Green had some very weird, like, he sounded like he was trying too hard. It's like
Yeah, he
fixed
sounded-
in the next
Yeah.
episode, but in this episode, he just sounded off.
Yeah, he sounded really gruff in this episode for some
Yeah.
reason.
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was
I
just
know.
sick that day or something else happened.
Maybe it had something to do with the fact that Knuckles never actually opened his mouth this episode. His teeth were always
He's talking
clenched.
his teeth.
Yeah, clenched teeth when we first see him. Yeah.
Like, Dan Green's just super method acting.
Yeah, and then Big getting a new voice. Yeah, honestly, I don't mind. I think it's okay. Like, in some ways, I kind of feel like all the voices for Big almost kind of sound the same. But yeah, the only thing noteworthy is the guy that voiced him in Sonic X would surprisingly come back years later to reprise him in Lego Dimensions.
Yeah, which was very weird. Honestly, I would take, as much as I hate Oliver Wyman's voice as Big, I would rather listen to it than Team Sonic Racing's slow Big the Cat voice.
Oh, so they didn't
Oh,
bring
yeah.
back John St. John then?
No,
Sadly,
Oh.
no. Only Sonic Adventure. Because he's a voice actor in Los Angeles, so they have different rules than the ones in New York. or
Sonic
something.
Adventure and Sonic Heroes, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
For
And
some
then
reason,
for-
the New York team had different contracts or something, so they can't be interchanged.
And then in Sonic X, and as well as Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Lego Dimensions, he's voiced by Oliver Wyman. And in Sonic Colors and Team Sonic Racing, he's voiced by Kyle Hebert.
But yeah, I agree, Luke. We should have had John St. John, Duke Nukem himself, do Big the Cat. Alas.
Absolutely.
And I have a feeling the last time he actually did do Big was for Rally for Sally PSA video, but I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering it.
John St. John?
Yeah.
The last I heard his big voice was when him and Kyle Hebert did did the Battle of Wits scene from Princess Bride as Big the Cat versus Big the Cat.
I did not see that one.
Oh, it's fantastic, but you do have to sit through Kyle Hebert talking very slowly.
Well,
So it's
Big
basically the Princess Bride, but played at like 50% negative speed.
pretty much. Big the Cat's
Only-
got-
Only when I don't remember the masked man's name. Only when he's talking, because Kyle Hebert is voicing the guy with the mask, and Big the Cat is voicing, or not Big the Cat. John St. John is playing Big the Cat as Wallace Shawn's character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, if you've never heard John St. John doing Big the Cat's voice live, it's actually very different than how he sounds in the games. Apparently, when John St. John voiced Big, he did his voice rather high-pitched, and Sega just lowered the pitch severely.
Oh wow.
So, if you do watch it, just know Big the Cat's gonna sound off.
Fair enough.
That just kind of makes me wonder, what does Big sound like if like the pitch is played at like a chipmunk speed? Frontal.
I'll speed him up by 4 times, and he finally talks like a normal person. Oh, well. I guess it's time we move on to the next episode. Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
Oh, I'll attempt to do it from what I can remember.
All right.
Okay. Chris, Cream, Big, and all the other characters were at Chuck's place, having a nice cup of tea or coffee, discussing about the emeralds and what they have to do. I think this is where Knuckles notices has a flashback or something about the Master Emerald being destroyed and seeing like chaos as a puddle coming out, and his guy's like, "Oh, I have to go and get all the shards now." And Sonic and Tails try. Sonic goes to Tails' alien house where Tails is working on his tornado, so he could use the emerald to find the other emerald. They go to a place which might be Windy Valley. They found the emerald, but Eggman's there with his drill thingy that was seeing the game, and he nicks the emeralds. And Sonic's like, "Right, come back here." So he goes after him and starts punching Eggman's windshield instead of just going over the windshield, just punching Eggman. But he falls off. He falls off, and the emerald. He loses the emeralds, but they land conveniently in a lake where Chaos is.
You fell out, Luke. Are you?
I think
Okay,
he must
yeah.
have fallen off.
He was so excited about the story, he disappeared. Oh, dear.
Oh,
Yeah, so
while we
excited
wait
he
for him to
fell
come
off his
back,
chair.
the robot is called the Egg Hornet. In
It's
case
hit.
anyone
I'm
forgot.
here. Hello. Sorry,
Hi,
did I lose connection?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Egg Hornets. Yes. So you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Where did you lost me?
The Egg Hornet, the fight. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. All right. Sonic was like, "Hey, come back here." So he goes up to him and tries to hit Eggman by punching his flimsy windshield instead of just standing over it and just punching Eggman. I think Sonic fell off, but Eggman loses the emeralds, which lands conveniently in a lake where Chaos is hiding. So like he planned that. So he turns into Chaos 4. So they have that Chaos 4 boss fight. But Sonic defeats him and Eggman like takes him back. Knuckles tries to find the shards and finds it in one of the casino. And instead of going on that scavenger hunt level thing with like hot and cold or whatever, he finds it convenient there. And then he gets the flashback when he meets up with DeCole, trying to convince the chiefs not to invade, and hope, which is pretty interesting. What else? Oh yes.
Hi, I'm DeCole. I'm showing you something.
And I kind of pretended that she was talking to President Putin not to invade the Ukraine. But I'm sorry if that's in bad taste or anything.
British sense of humour.
Oh no!
Well, he says, like, don't invade! He says, I must invade for the glory of the Empire! Anyway, Amy and Cream were out shopping, and they see the egg carrier flying overhead, and Sonic and Tails are on the tornado trying to attack it in a very epic fight, but they crash. But conveniently, a flicky falls out and falls on Amy's head. And like, oh, I'm lost. And like, Amy decides to look after it, which is decides to name it Lily. But then the green robot turns up that everybody in Sonic Adventure hates. And instead of Amy trying to find a red balloon, it just straight up kidnaps her and just runs off. And also, Tails has a flashback of Sonic saving Tails from the robots, and he ends up in the house. I think that's all I can remember mostly from that episode.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot happened in this episode.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they went through a lot of boss fights and levels in this episode. So plenty to talk about. Salah, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I've got a few points. First off, since we're talking about voice actors a lot, Rebecca Honig is voicing Tikal here. She's also the person who voices Cream and Vanilla. And I think she does a pretty good job as Tikal.
Yeah.
And I also think So Amy decides to name the bird Lily, which is weird, but I think it's a better name than Birdie, which is what she came up with in the game.
Yeah.
Birdie.
Also, the moment where E100 shows up to kidnap the bird, he's just after the bird, but he grabs Amy, and Amy grabs the bird.
Well, knowing Robotnik's history with robots, I think that robot had other things in mind besides getting the bird.
No.
Oh no!
Not another horny Eggman robot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's with how tall that thing is, you never know what's inside that weird trash can body thing.
You're saying that robot also knows exactly when the characters don't wear panties or not.
Yeah, that robot is a bit of a grabber, if you know what I mean.
Well, there goes. High
But yeah,
quality.
Tails' flashback. We actually get to see Sonic flying the tornado.
That looks so
Is
weird.
cool.
Oh yeah.
Sonic,
Yeah.
We see him first in the passenger seat and then actually flying the plane. I never saw that before. It looks so weird.
Well, well, like if you play as Tails in Sonic 2, then you can see Sonic piloting the plane in the Sky Fortress level or whatever it's called.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But actually seeing close-ups of him actually sitting in the seat of the plane it takes a while for me to get used to it.
Ah, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to see that for once. I mean, it is supposed to be Sonic's plane, so nice to see confirmation on that. They sure love their flashbacks. Okay, so am I the only one confused that, I mean, the show is so inconsistent in how faithful they recreate the location. Some look near perfect, like the outside of the casino is near exactly out of Batman's comic. I mean, the video game Sonic Adventure. But then the interior is like a weird temple, like an empty giant room that doesn't look like a casino at all. And
Yeah, where's the night table?
exactly, very important detail. But also, Windy Valley barely resembles Windy Valley, and Tails' workshop is completely weird. So, but then the egg carrier looks near perfect, so it's kind of random when they do an exact recreation and when they just randomly do their own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's about time we talk about Tails' workshop since we already kind of talked about the last time. It's so weird that Chris's home actually resembles his actual workshop closer than the new workshop he gets, so it kind of makes me confused why they bother being so, like, going after the... like, trying to do the Sonic Adventure game where he has his own workshop when it barely resembles it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks more like something out of Dragon Ball Z now that I look at it.
Yeah, or Star Wars.
Well, I mean, looking at it a bit more, it kind of resembles sort of the structures in Knothole Village from Satyam Sonic.
That's
In
a
a
good
way.
point, yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see that.
actually.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a
At least
Saturn
that
reference
one shot.
after all.
That'll be a very big surprise. But yeah, I
Yeah.
can kind of see what you mean, yeah. At least I put a lot of
Purely
thought into it.
coincidental.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought, like, has Tails ended up in Utapau?
Africa or what?
No, Utapau, that's
Oh, no.
it's a location in Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it's where Obi-Wan fought General Grievous.
Oh, that's an
Hello
awesome
there.
location.
Yeah, they have these homes in, like, massive sinkholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the winds on the surface of the planet are too strong.
Oh, and that makes sense because Tails does live in the Windy Valley. At least that's what's implied.
Yeah.
Although that Star Wars movie wasn't out when Sonic X was released, was it? 2003?
No.
No, it wasn't.
So that's complete coincidence. They went for the
Yeah.
same logic.
Or maybe someone watched the episode and decided, like, oh, I think I'll
George
use that
Lucas
sort
is
of
a
design.
Sonic fan.
I mean, there was one movie director who was a fan, James Cameron or someone else. So maybe George Lucas is as well.
John Carpenter.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. He especially likes Sonic Unleashed. So, way to go, John Carpenter.
You're instantly a big fan of his movies now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Yeah, the whole scene with the Egg Hornet. One scene that I just feel like bringing up, it's very minor, but I find it hilarious, is for some reason it only happens in the Japanese version. Like when Sonic jumps up on the Egg Hornet, and then he tries to cling on, and then he jumps in front of like the windshield and whatnot, and then he just starts punching the windshield. Like, oh, take that. It's like, you could just punch Robotnik because he's right there.
Also, the windshield looks very flimsy as well.
Yeah, like, like maybe that's it. Like, oh, the windshield, that's the power source of this thing.
Sonic just really hates glass, okay?
Yeah, because in most Sonic games, Eggman just protects himself in this massive glass-shaped dome, but here it's just a tiny windshield.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so weird.
Also, is this the first time we even see like a regular fight between Sonic and Eggman in his Eggmobile? Because I think the show hasn't done this before. He's always like fighting through a big giant robot. So this is the closest we get to an actual like regular boss fight representation.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it
kinda
is the-
Yeah, sorry.
it is the first actual boss fight that they have interpreted in the show, so
That's true.
that makes sense.
I'm kind of surprised how many boss fights of Sonic Adventure get direct representation. Like, I guess they're going through all the Chaos boss fights, but also one Eggman fight. So,
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
makes it a very action-packed episode, because, wow, there's tons of stuff happens in this episode. It's also interesting they finally actually used the fact that Chaos is in the water, because I don't think the game ever really makes you go underwater or anything, or plays with Sonic's inability to swim. This game, Sonic X still doesn't really do much with it, but a little bit more, where he's actually like diving into the water and all that. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's only a few places in Sonic Adventure where you can drown.
Yeah, but never through the boss fight of Chaos. Only in a couple level areas.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
believe
No,
in-
but yep,
Yeah, I believe in the Chaos 4 fight, if you sink, you just take damage.
that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So kind of a weird missed opportunity. Then again, not that I'm that upset about it because underwater sucks. But I mean, you kind of you expect a boss character like that to make use more of the fact Sonic can't swim. But oh well, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Now that I mention it with the Chaos 4 battle, I just remembered, like, when we see Chaos in that pool, it's like, oh, yeah, it's an empty pool, but then when Sonic gets in there, like, oh, then suddenly lily pads show up.
Oh yeah, very randomly. Yeah, it's kind of weird how some reference to the original game kind of show up out of nowhere. But yeah, so I guess that means this whole episode almost takes place, except for the Station Square area scenes, takes place in the Mobius world. Even though we don't really see much evidence of that, other than that the rock shapes are weird, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
If the mystic runes are supposed to be like actual parts of Mobius. And a tourist attraction, even though we don't see evidence of that. Would it be funny if there's lots of tourists staring at Sonic fighting?
Yeah, there's an idea for a Sonic X parody there, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, there's a few Station Square scenes in this episode. Some of them are kind of interesting between the English and Japanese versions. Well, first off, there's one scene that makes better sense in the Japanese version. That's when, Lily's, falling down and lands on Amy. Like, in the English dub, Amy points out, oh, something fell, and then it lands on her. It's like, yeah, how can you not see that thing fall down if you point out that something's falling down? While in the Japanese version, she says something else, oh, that must be, Robotnik's fortress or something.
Yeah, it caught her more by surprise. So I guess that is a plot hole caused by Sonic X. Then again, I suppose it makes sense he's distracted. He's staring at Sonic crashing, so I guess that would be more...
Yeah. And then the other scene that happens in the Japanese version is that we see a little more damage that Robotnik's done to Station Square. There's these paramedics that come by with a stretcher and they're carrying this guy, and we don't know exactly if he's dead or just wounded, but we see the massive destruction he has, which of course was cut out in the English dub because, oh, that's too violent.
Yep, can only do damage to buildings. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, that kind of does provide a bit of a weird contradiction. Because, Robotnik's yeah, he's fine with destroying whatever and whatnot, and yet they're not allowed to actually show it. It must have been fine with Season 1 finale, but here, oh, nope, that's too far.
Oh, well. Hey, they did show actual guns last episode, so I have to give them some credit. Even though they couldn't show fire.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, the guns made a cameo in this episode too. So
There you go.
Yeah.
I also just remembered something that in the cannon thing that shot down the tornado is a lot different than the one in the games, because in the game it was like in the middle of the egg carrier, like a giant death laser, but here it's just a smaller laser coming out of a random cannon.
yeah, actually,
it's
and that also makes a contradiction in the next episode, because
yeah.
then the giant laser does appear, and Tails remembers it even though he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
so
good
weird.
point.
Well, he was injured, so he could obviously misremember everything.
Oh yeah, it was knocked out.
Tails is just hallucinating this entire time.
Maybe
Yeah.
Tikal helped. Maybe Tikal gave him a flashback that was actually useful for once.
Oh, there you go.
So here, let me show you the blueprints of the egg carrier.
Yeah, this is where the bathroom is.
And here is where Eggman's bedroom is.
And here's his porn stash.
And here's his diving pool.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So parody friendly, all this stuff.
I also like how, speaking of the turret that shot down the X-Tornado, the egg carrier has like 1,000 of these turrets, and Tails uses all of his missiles on one turret.
He's not
I'm
very good.
particularly very angry at this one particular turret, Sonic. I'm going
Yeah.
to use up every single weapon I've got to destroy it. And
Yeah,
he
it's gonna-
succeeded.
Yeah, it's got a funny
Well, that
face on it,
was-
so it's clearly mocking me.
Maybe he was planning on doing that on every turret. Just gonna take all day and millions of rockets. But,
I mean, one thing though I have to say is, like, when I'm hearing all that sort of stuff about the tornado basically being damaged, but yet the only damage I've seen is like it's lost a tip of its wing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, really, is that like the serious major damage, considering the fact that, like, the tornado X could apparently fly without the need of all those wings regardless.
Yeah, that is weird, because in the game, we see the tornado, one of the wings of the tornado is blown clear off as they fall down. Here it's just only a small portion, and with how big that thing is, like, you'd think it would still be able to function just fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they fix it really quickly too.
Yeah. They just use duct tape.
Yeah.
the magic of duct tape, indeed.
Just put that together.
Oh well. I guess we're done with this episode.
Well, have we mentioned about, like, how Zero has a voice in?
Oh yeah,
like,
this is
this
the
Right, yeah.
episode?
yeah, this is one of the few one of the first times Zero actually talks.
And it's kind of funny in a way, like, the voice that he's been given sounds like it belongs with Gamma. But of course, in the next episode, we obviously clearly hear how the E100 models sound, which all being high pitched by comparison. And I'm just like, why, you had a good Gamma voice there, and yet you decided not to use it for the actual character? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, well, that's just one of the reasons why the Japanese version is better, because they just use the same voice actor from the game.
Thank goodness. Yeah, I guess I just go with low voice belongs to the bad guy. Yes, Salah? Captain, sorry.
A strange admission for me to make is that I don't remember that E100 didn't talk in the games. But in my defense, I did watch the Great Clement playthrough of the game, where every time he shows up, he does the "What am I fighting for?" from Mega Man X, as a reference to his name Zero.
Of course.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He sort of has two names. Like, there's Zero, and then sometimes it's E100 Alpha, but Zero is
Yeah.
the more common name.
Oh, that's with all
Yeah.
of them. I mean, Gamma of Eonathan too. Oh well. It's one of the production number and the other their nickname, I guess. Also, I guess that's one thing I need to bring up. The Japanese version really loves talking about food. I mean, in this episode, the episode starts with a big, like 5 characters talking about how amazing the coffee is. which again the American version kind of removes it. It's like, why are we drinking coffee? We need to have an adventure. But not in the Japanese version. Japanese version, they're all, this coffee's amazing.
This coffee's so fucking awesome, man.
And anime really have an obsession with characters like drooling over food and drinks all the time.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Especially with how you always see those.
Coffee.
Yeah. Especially with how much time and effort all the animators put into actually making all the food look like, so delicious. And it's like, I want that.
Yeah.
When in reality, it probably looks half-assed.
Probably. It's a nightmare to
Scene in the
make.
There's a scene in the next episode where Amy is thinking about all the food she was gonna cook for Sonic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there was a mention like Creamer saying, "Oh, Wella's taught me how to cook and stuff."
Yeah. Now we just need Chef Big to join in.
Chef who?
Chef Big.
Chef Big.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Today
all of them was gonna cook.
Yeah. Today we make froggy soup.
For a moment, I thought you said Chef Gordon Ramsay, like yelling at Amy and Cream for not doing a good job.
Where's the lamb sauce?
Yeah. Where's the lamb sauce, Amy?
You donkey! What are you? An idiot sandwich. This is effing raw.
Also, I just want to say, Melting Man, that was a really great big voice.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I think in terms of voices, I seem to do a better job with just doing deep voice characters with how deep my voice already is. Yeah.
So you should be doing Eonatan 2's voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine, Froggy. Me. Well, I need like a robot filter to make it sound more authentic.
Fair enough. But yeah, I guess we can move to the next episode.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
Find the bird.
Whoa, there we go.
Sure, let's Gamma do the story synopsis.
Oh boy.
No.
Um,
Gamma's already done his left.
Yeah. I could do it if no one objects.
Okay,
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I will.
Right, so I'm trying to remember. So Knuckles is still on his quest to find the shards of the Master Emerald. Sonic and Tails go after Robotnik after fixing the X-Tornado, presumably with glue or duct tape. And then, this is most of the episode, we get to see a lot more with Gamma, where, they're instructed to find Froggy with the tail, and of course Chris and Big are off finding him, and Big is like fishing, and Chris is like, "Hey, what are you doing? We gotta find Froggy." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, Chris, I know what I'm doing." So this goes on, and they just managed to find Froggy with Big's fishing lure, which Gamma quickly takes, and Chris and Big chase after them into the egg carrier. And then we see Amy's locked up in the prison, and it pretty much just plays out like usual. We see, Gamma retrieves the frog, the other EC's robots are banished to the Shadow Realm, apparently. and then Gamma is sent off to find the bird, which Amy's like, "No, this bird's mine, I won't let him hurt you." Which then this forms a little relationship after getting talked down to by a bird, and Gamma proceeds to release Amy and Lily to escape. All while Chris and Big are still trying to find Froggy, and Knuckles hitches a ride with Sonic and Tails as they're heading off to find the egg carrier, because Knuckles needs to go to the egg carrier now since the pieces of the Master Emerald are also on that ship. So they get there, lots of dog fighting, lots of stuff, and then they crash into the egg carrier and die. The end.
I was about to make that joke.
Drinks around.
That's a perfect ending.
Game over, yeah.
Perfect. And then the show was over. That was the final episode.
Credits roll.
Exactly.
Literally.
So first off, before we get into anything, I did want to say, like, when somebody joked about Gamma doing the synopsis, I did seriously contemplate doing like the whole "My name is E102 Gamma." Like from the actual games where you pick up wherever you left off and they give you a little synopsis.
Yeah, that would have been cool because there wasn't any voice acting in those segments. It was just a crawl of text.
Adventure 2 did the voice acting.
Yeah, just Adventure 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So first off, I think we can all agree Andrew Rannells did not do great as Gamma here.
It just sounds like Boku no Deku to me.
Yeah, it's so terrible.
It's Boku and Deku, but without the emotion.
Pretty much. Well, this character's supposed to be an emotional, the emotional heart of the story.
Like
Yeah.
the most emotional robot in the entire Sonic series.
Yeah.
And he just talks so monotonous.
Yeah, it's just so terrible.
Yeah.
Which this is pretty much why I'm glad that in the Japanese version they kept the original voice actor to come back and reprise the character.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it really kind of undermines like all of the emotional moments that like were supposed to be represented in this episode of like Gamma watching as his brothers get sent to the Shadow Realm, and then like coming across Beta being completely like disassembled, and then like starting to feel sorry for Amy. And yeah, it was supposed to be really emotional moments, and then it wasn't because of his stupid voice.
It's ruined by the damn voice, yeah.
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 And him,
But, like-
him, of course, going like when he just leaves, he's going like, "Oh."
Oh yeah, when he turns. Just funny because that's not even in the Japanese version. He's just
Yeah.
mute when he turns around. Yeah.
We just need to add a voice just because we need to add a voice in this very silent scene.
Yeah. We gotta overemphasize that this is a tragic scene.
The American version loves making the sound very dynamic. Yeah. Sorry, Captain.
I did notice that they changed one line by one word, probably for a very good reason. In the original game, when Gamma is interrogating Amy, he says, "Give me the bird,"
Oh yeah.
which can be taken differently in English.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Here in the 4Kids dub, he specifies.
Give me the little bird.
Yeah.
And then the bird literally gives Gamma the little bird.
Would have been funny
Or
if he
Amy
said.
saying like, we could, but the censors won't allow it.
The Fox Centers won't allow it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some fan made comments of that scene. It's like, oh, give me the bird, and Amy just flips him off.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, but yeah, that's a good one.
Also, the only other notes I have about this episode are like when Knuckles is going to put the Master Emerald together, he just holds his hand out, and then all the shards appear.
Well, didn't that also happen in the game?
Yeah.
I guess so, but like it makes more sense for a 1999 video game.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or like in the movie when Knuckles just squashes them all together and they magically just form.
Yeah.
Just squeezing it all together and it's like, finished.
Use duct tape.
I was wondering how they were gonna do the tornado crash scene, because in the game, like Tails made a new version of the tornado, but like it doesn't have landing gear, so it crashes on the egg carrier. Here, like it's the X tornado. I'm like, well, that has landing gear. How's that gonna work? He transforms it into the stupidest form it has, where it's just got arms, and then that crashes.
Sonic X really has an weird obsession with technology. Like, it's already annoying they replace a tornado with this generic sci-fi robot, and now it's like an old Transformers thing. But yeah, I think the whole last scene was supposed to be a parody or something, because they kept making jokes about transformation. That's also where the joke from the random welcome community came from. Like, the American version didn't know what to do with that. Like, oh, I just said give him a warm welcome or something.
There was a bit of a funny moment where Eggman, where we seen all the transformations of the egg carrier, and Robotnik wants to do another transformation, but then you got these tiny little animatronic dancers dancing and singing for him, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah, that was random. I really appreciate them doing that, because that's the wonderful thing about Egg Carrier Sonic Adventure, that it was still felt like a theme park for the Eggman. Lots of weird sense of humor to it. So
Yeah, it kind of has "It's a Small World After All" kind of feel to it.
Yeah, so I love the fact that that sense of humor is represented in Sonic X. It's because usually the air carriers are very boring and generic in Sonic X. So I like the fact they make it look more colorful and cartoony and add more sense of humor to it. Because even
I was actually curious about that scene in Japanese, because in the English version, like, Eggman says, like, let's give them a warm welcome, and Deco just takes that literally and sends out the welcome animatronics, and Eggman says, I was being sarcastic.
that did make more sense, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, how did that go in Japanese?
Well, he basically says he wants to do another transformation, so they do that animatronics, and he goes, no, not that kind of formation.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? So yeah, that joke was better in English then.
Yep. Yeah, 4Kids does improvement sometimes. Yep. Shockingly enough.
I did like Eggman's like insistence on referring to frogs as froggies. Which was very weird. But I think one of the funniest tiny details that, like, it's only funny if you like think about it for a second, is that, like, after Eggman sends all the E100 robots to go find Froggy, every time one of them finds a frog, a little blinker comes up on a device in the egg carrier. So Eggman just has this device that keeps track of which robot has found a frog.
Yeah, tracking devices, yeah.
Install them on a frog detector.
It actually would be hilarious if, like, one of them did light up, but it turns out, oh no, it wasn't a frog, it was like a lizard or something. Another reptile.
I would have liked it if the robots just brought in like hundreds of frogs instead of one. Like literally every single frog they can find. Like the whole egg carrier is infested by frogs.
I mean, that would have been more efficient than having them each just grab one.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's why we don't see E105 Zeta in this one. He's too busy trying to rob a frog store for his master.
He sunk away in the swamp.
He just had a bag of frogs.
You know, the everyday frog store you find on every street corner.
Just picking a bag of frogs.
Yeah. Oh, now that I think, yeah, it would be hilarious. Like, oh, he found a frog, but oh, it's the chocolate frog candies from Harry Potter.
That'd be great. One thing I was a little disappointed by was Eggman's speech to the robots, because it already doesn't really make sense Eggman to give like an actual oral speech to the robots, because he can just program their mission into them. But in the game, at least he like did it with a parade and like funny music and fanfares and all that. So at least there it kind of makes sense. Like, oh, it's just Dr. Eggman being maniacal and egotistical and bombastic about it. But in Sonic X, there was no sense of humor about it. He just holds the speech.
Yeah,
So
well, that was
disappointing.
Yeah, well, the whole bit was pretty much replaced with Deco and Boko fighting over which one gets to do the mic check first.
Yeah, I guess so. That's a bit disappointed.
Very weird.
I wish they really went with the Sonic Avenger thing, where Eggman really made this into like this whole bombastic speech with fanfare and confetti and all that.
Yeah.
I am your great master, because I always love those little moments with him and his robots, just like acting like they're actual employees of his or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was also another moment adapted from the game where, after each E100 robot brings in a frog, Eggman looks at Delta, Beta, and Epsilon's frogs, and decides not to look at Gamma's, and just starts berating all of them for not bringing in the right frog.
Yeah.
He just got so impatient with the first three that he didn't check the fourth one.
Yeah.
Poor Eggman.
Yeah, much like in the actual game, where he just calls everyone dummies before eventually seeing like, "Oh, Gamma, you actually bought me the right frog right there."
And he's so happy that he still punished all of them, even though they did accomplish their mission.
Yeah, it looks like he just straight up vaporized them.
Even though there's still animals inside them, so are those animals dead now?
Yeah, well, that is an interesting thing, because, like, in the English dub, they don't react to being teleported or destroyed or whatever, but in the Japanese version, you can clearly hear they're, like, yelling in pain while they're going through this.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oof.
That's dark.
Yeah.
Very dark.
Yeah, Deco Boko said that it was the same thing might happen to Gamma tomorrow.
But then we see Eonaton 1 later in the other device, so I'm not sure if if that was supposed to be their death or they just teleported away. Because it's kind of confusing.
Well, I think in the game they were just teleported away to get like upgraded or something. Because like we do fight the robots in different areas.
Yeah, because there's Eonaton 2 is supposed to fight them later on. So, but yeah, we'll see what the Sonic X does.
Yeah, they all get upgraded. The Delta and Epsilon get new guns, and Beta gets completely changed into a flying robot, and then Zeta just becomes, as someone in the comments said, the giant Dreamcast defense system.
Oh yeah, is that like a power energy thing powered up by Dreamcast systems?
At least he can entertain everyone.
With stolen games.
Yeah,
Stolen. Pirated games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah. Flanagan Brothers. No, Flanagan
Phantasy
Brothers.
Star
That's what I mean.
Online.
Of course.
The Sonic Shuffle.
The real classic.
Yeah, and then he plays Sonic Shuffle, and then he gets pissed off because Gamma is playable in that game and not Zeta.
Ah, poor guy. Yeah, I think we're done with this episode.
I do have a couple of one bit I want to point out is like when Amy was in the cell and she's like pining about Sonic and like she has visualizes meeting him in the street and he goes, "Oh, Amy, I didn't recognize you then," even though she hasn't changed or anything. And Amy's going like, "Oh, I hope you should chase me one day, or you should chase me or something." And Sonic says, "Yes, I should chase you." And it's like, did that actually happen?
Yeah, that was only in the Japanese version of Sonic X.
I was about to say, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was wondering if she was remembering something or she's just fantasizing it.
No, that's definitely something Amy would fantasize about.
But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We forgot. We got Amy's flashback, but they didn't really do much with it. She just deals with a generic robot, and that's it. I wish they kind of showed Sonic CD, like Metal Sonic.
Yeah,
I understand
how they did in the game.
Yeah, that's what they did in Sonic Adventure. I mean, they already kind of wasted it there, but I figured they didn't want to make new models and locations just for the flashback. But yeah, in Sonic X, it's really wasted that they didn't really... We still don't know anything about her backstory. She just had the random robots attack her, and then Sonic showed up, I guess.
Well, another weird thing about the Japanese version is that there's the scene where Amy is explaining to Lily about like telepathy and how that works.
Oh yeah,
and then we cut to like Sonic on the tornado, and then like we hear Amy's echoey voice, "Oh, Sonic," and Sonic's like, "Oh, Amy." So apparently, Amy has telepathy.
That was like a very obscure reference to like Sonic CD, I think, where it implies she has like some sort of mystic power.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, is that what it's about? Or tarot reading?
Yeah, tarot cards.
I guess that explains the Sonic Frontiers trailer.
Yeah, that maybe.
Oh, that's weird. It wouldn't be the first time something out of Sonic X suddenly made its way into the games, like with Shadow's Ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's for later, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like how in the game when Gamma lets them out of the jail cell, he just walks over and pushes a button that opens the door. This time, he just blows the bars off of the cage.
Yeah, and then in the Archie Sonic version, he just rips the bars off the wall.
Would have been dark if he accidentally like killed Amy and then Lily and the rocket.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking, because he like points his gun into the bars and just like shoots them off, and I'm like, Amy's right there. That could have been very bad.
Yeah.
A Sonic in Seconds idea, I think, if they ever bring that back.
Yeah.
Oops, I missed.
You are free to go now. Why is there a red blood stain there?
You have a leak.
Yeah,
it's like Gamma blows up the bars, accidentally kills Amy. It's like, oh, accessing data, observing red liquid. It's like, oh, liquid contains blood. Prisoner is dead.
This presents a problem.
Yeah, this presents a problem. That's got to be like a parody. That's a must for this episode to get parodied.
I have good news and bad news, Doctor.
Dark humor. Yeah, by the way, Sonic Seconds is still running, but they just need more animators. So I'm waiting for more.
I also want to point out like how Big managed to find Froggy so quickly after how in the actual game it's so his mini games are so awkward, like trying to track. Yeah, and also when Chris and Big got onto the egg carriage, I thought, oh great, we're gonna have the whole episode following them, but they were barely in it.
Yeah.
Well, they have a lot of. They're going through every level and boss fight and mini game in Sonic Avengers, so they can't spend too long. But yeah, I like the fact that Chris is teamed up with Big. He deserves it.
Yeah, put the two joke characters together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you didn't do
Everyone's
that with Sonic Movie
favorite
Madness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying this Sonic Adventure adaptation more than I thought. So good job, Sonic X so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one more thing I want to bring up is just talking about Tikal in general. What do you guys think? 'Cause I don't think you guys have barely talked about her on like Dissected Wise.
I think she's a decent character.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as a character,
Yeah, as a character.
she's pretty interesting. She has like a purpose as a character, which is like to show like the backstory of Chaos. But like she herself is pretty interesting. I like her. She's very kind, which is what ultimately gets her killed, I guess. But yeah, she's a nice character. I wish we saw her like ever again, really.
Yeah, it's a shame because I know she has a lot of fans that want to see her come back, but all we get are just
I was kind of
skins.
hoping that she would be in like Sonic 2 as part of like the Echidna tribe, but no.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she is playable in the GameCube version of the multiplayer thing.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, yeah. And she can still show up in Sonic Movie 3, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
She's also playable in Sonic vs. Speed Battle.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah, only speed battle because no
Only
love for
speed
Dash
battle.
fans.
Yeah.
Which I'm still pissed about that.
And she was in Sonic and Tails R.
Ah, yes,
That's
of course.
true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
As Roger
and,
animated.
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, it's a shame we don't really see Tikal that often. Because, like, I know in Archie Sonic, she was kind of in the same way. But in the new continuity, they had this interesting idea of, like, oh, when the Master Emerald broke in this one story, then she shows up, but in spirit form. So she's just, Tikal, but just translucent and not the ball of energy like in the games. So that was neat just to see that again. But yeah, I like Tikal as a character. She's nice. I like to see her as, like, the Mobian version of Pocahontas in a way.
I guess so. Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. I forgot. We often make jokes that Knuckles is like talking with the Master Emerald and treating it as a human being. In this episode, we actually see Tikal literally talking to the Master Emerald. So she's the one who's actually treating it as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, emeralds have feelings too,
But yeah, the Master Emerald taught her that whole poetry.
We also saw a lot of like Chow with Tikal, and like we don't know if that have any like connection with Cheese, and like maybe Cheese is a descendant of one of those Chow.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Oh, right. Retro Gamer in the comments points out that Tikal was also playable in Sonic Runners.
Oh yeah, the
Oh.
defunct Sonic Runners. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
and they couldn't
That
be
game
bothered in
was-
putting her in the watered down remake.
Why did
And
they get
everyone's
rid of that
house
game?
fan.
That game was great.
Yeah, it was a great celebration of like the franchise because around that time the series had gotten so self-deprecating and meta. But it's like this was a game that fully embraced the stuff. We got characters like Tikal or 06 or Six the Badger, and then they just deleted it, and then we eventually got a remake, but it was so watered down and pointless.
Yeah. But yeah, also true what Rhino pretty much mentioned, that there is a new Tikal plush coming out very shortly of her.
Yeah, that just got announced recently. Yeah.
So she's still got a lot of love, but yeah, I'm not expecting her to show up in the games. I mean, I guess the problem is story-wise, what do you do with her? Because the Master Emerald already has barely been relevant. I mean, I guess it would be a nice way for the Master Emerald to kind of communicate with the characters, from hey, I've been stolen, go over here. But yeah,
And when was the last time the Master Emerald was actually relevant?
Lego Dimensions,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sonic Mania,
Well, yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I'd say maybe like Lego Dimensions because there's like a mini game in the hub world where you have to power it up. But yeah, for Mania, I don't know. I have been prejudiced for years, but recently I have been more. I've sort of softened up to it, so I'm a little more willing to give that game a fair chance now.
Good.
Okay, well, it's not really about if it's a good game or a bad game. Just if the Master Emerald played a part in it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it appears in it, but I don't think it was story relevant. I don't remember the details.
Yeah. Speaking of emeralds, I wanted to point this out before I forget. So, like in Sonic X, we see, the Chaos Emeralds are designed like how they are, just like emeralds and whatnot. But in these flashback sequences with Decal, for some reason, they're designed more like diamonds.
Well, maybe they change shape in the years. Huh, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, that could be.
Or the real ones just vanish, and those are just placeholders, and gonna see how long before anyone notices that they're missing or something.
Yeah, they're just like the ones in the past are not the real emeralds. They're just like, forgot the switch. There, now they're lit.
Just decoration.
They're just decorations. Yeah.
You go to the treasure chest where they were.
Or maybe it's like how it's like in the movie 2, where all the emeralds are actually inside the Master Emerald.
Ooh, possible.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, one thing I was going to say before the subject was changed a bit, but the way you're saying, like, imagining like if Sonic 3, like the Master Emerald could talk, and the only thing that came into my head when you said that was like the Master Emerald grumbling about being like carted around in an ice box the whole time.
Like, hey, it's cold in here.
I'm the most powerful being in the universe, and you just treat me as a fridge magnet? Okay.
Like, I deserve better. I do not want to be travelling around in an ice box along with all this cheap branded soda. I want Coca-Cola, damn it!
As soon as
You
you get
hurt up in here.
It's your own
What
fault.
the
You
heck
keep
is-
getting kidnapped.
What the heck is Mr. Pibb?
Oh man, Mr. Piv. Yeah, that was like the weird knockoff of Dr. Pepper in a way, at least from what I remember.
Yep.
Oh wow, you had your own Dr. Pepper knockoff? We have one in the Netherlands too, Dr. Foods.
Never heard of that one.
That's Dutch, I guess, so there you go. Pretty
Does
much
it
tastes the
mean
same.
something in Dutch, or does it actually just mean food?
Well, it's with a T, so it's more foot, I guess, than
Oh, okay.
food.
Dr. Foot.
Dr.
We
Foot.
all know where this is going.
Oh no.
Doctor kicks you. Oh well, that's for your random Netherlands trivia, I suppose.
Yeah, we all need some Netherlands culture in our lives.
Of course. Maybe I'll make a Sonic Roblast 2 level about the Netherlands at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
You know,
But then
flowers
again-
and windmills.
yeah. But I think Roger probably won't, because like the main whole structure of the Netherlands is flatness.
It will be very much a challenge to turn that into a platform game, yeah.
Yeah. So you probably just have it set in Amsterdam or something.
I guess.
Because at least there's a bit more buildings and structures around, and the death trap of water canals.
Because yeah, I remember Sly Raccoon also having a level in the Netherlands, the third game I think, but it was filled with hills and mountains, like way more hilly than the actual Netherlands. Makes sense,
Yeah,
it's a platformer.
And Sonic has to avoid all the cyclists.
Ooh, that'll be a deadly trap, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just finding it funny, like, seeing all those cyclists like zipping towards Sonic as he's running, and it's like they're all got like car horns and such, because Roger had forgotten to remove that from the cars that he probably originally had in that shot.
Would
So
be
they're all-
funny for the
they're all
bicycles.
like, "Honk, get out
Or
the
you
way."
could do something like in City Escape, where instead of running away from a gun truck, Sonic is running away from a very big bicycle.
Just a little girl on a tricycle. But still have a truck horn for some reason.
With a lollipop, yeah.
I'm coming for you, Sonic.
And she's still going just as fast and as just destructively as the gun truck.
Well, it could be like the Generations version where you can go up walls.
Oh yeah, it turns into a freaking rocket at the end.
With a demented smile on his face.
Well,
Oh my God.
settled. I have to make this level. That's
Oh jeez.
That's amazing.
everyone breathe.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm doing fine. I don't know about melting, man.
I'm recovering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was it Luke?
I'm alright. Alright.
Good, because I always recall that you always do that sort of wheezing laugh
Yeah.
when you find something extremely funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't worry, I'm not dying. I'm just laughing my ass off. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
So everyone in the chat can relax.
Okay. Okay.
Laughing is healthy, unless you choke to death, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's time for Fleetway, I think, or isn't?
Yeah.
So we need
Ah,
our British
Fleetway.
people of the group to tell us all about this. Don't
Oh
we?
dearie me.
Yeah, Luke, what's your history with the Sonic the Comic?
Basically, it's our UK equivalent of having. It's basically not just Sonic, but various Sega properties in comic form. It's for basically for Sonic fans, for Sega fans, as it has also like reviews and Sega related and Mega Drive related news. The host is someone called Mega Droid, and who calls the readers boomers. I mean, this was way before the term boomers was used as a derogatory term for people born in the 50s and 60s or people over the age of 30.
So what is it referring to then? Sonic Boom or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was like, I don't know, some kind of like radical 90s thing. Like, hey, boomers!
Oh yeah, of course.
I
in
always
the
assumed
90s.
that.
Well, yeah, it does
It was
say right here, hey, Sonic Boomers.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
all
maybe
you
it is
boomers.
Maybe it is a pun on Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Because that is what this series needed, yet another Sonic Boom pun.
Of course.
Added to the pile.
Yeah, the Sonic Boom Inception.
And you have history with this magazine?
I pretty much wasn't aware of the comic until my mother ended up buying like issue 21 because she wanted to get some sort of like ideas for like crafting and such for the older like a Beaver Scout group, which is like the youngsters for Scouts. And I saw like the comic and I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a comic. I really want one. I want to keep collecting them all, sort of thing. And of course, my mum was very stingy at the time when she was like, no, we're not buying the comics, Ewan. I was like, oh, come on, it's only £1.15. And she just gave me a death stare that really shut me up. Because that was like how she was.
Yeah,
But-
I didn't get. I'm sorry. Okay, you continue.
But yeah, no, it's like, but eventually they obviously caved in, and I started collecting the comics from issue 31 onwards until, you know, sometime like around just a few more issues before the whole comic cancelled. Because by that point I was like, I'm getting tired of all these reprints, so I'll just cancel like the news agents from delivering me my comic.
All right. You want to
Yeah,
say
so-
something, Luke?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I didn't exactly read the comic a lot back in the 90s. I did only get one issue as a kid that had. It was a story where Robotnik steals Sonic's powers. I didn't get a lot because most of my pocket money, and I was mostly into reading comics like the Beano and Buster comics, which involves this green capped wearing kid who turns out to be the son of another British comic character called Andy Cap. It wasn't until the late 90s when I got my very first Sonic game, which was Sonic CD, that I've decided to spend my pocket money on the comic, which was somewhere during the Sonic Adventure arc, and then and I decided to only focus on one arc because these comics were pretty expensive and I didn't get a lot of pocket money, and that's when I decided to stop collecting. But then afterwards, I did try to collect any issues I could find.
Fair enough. Well, I don't have to ask the others because this is a British-only thing.
Well, I have a little bit of history with Fleetway Sonic, even if I'm just American.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
So, well, mine's more the short one. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, Fleetway Sonic. Now, of course, me being American, I was more used to like the Archie Sonic comics that were a thing for over here, and then I was surprised, like, oh, there existed another Sonic comic series, but it was only in Europe. So, like back then, I only saw like a handful of like screenshots from it. So, at pure random. So it was kind of like, like Asterix or Lucky Luke. I've seen pictures about it, but I just never actually experienced it for myself. And I've only heard like snippets. And eventually, I think during my college years, I managed to read through them, or at least a majority of them. I didn't get around to the specials, but thanks to Sonic Scan F, I was able to read through Fleetway Sonic and become more familiar with the series until they decided to nuke the whole comic section. So nowadays I just use archive.org to check out Fleetway Sonic if I'm in the mood.
Fair enough. But yeah, we're gonna be looking at the entire Fleetway official run. Like, I'm not sure if we're going to the fan continuation later. We'll find out later. But yeah, because we're still waiting for IDW to kind of save up more issues before we go back in there. Sonic Archie's still like a little too big for me, and it's Sonic too small. So.
Yeah, we're still waiting on issue 50 to come out and the last part of the Imposter Syndrome. So I figure after that, then we might have enough material to work with for IDW Sonic.
Sure, but with Fleetway, we'll be busy for a while. Yes, Ewan? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was also going to say that probably once you've done with the Sonic X anime, you'll probably move on to the Sonic X comics, since there's about 40 issues of that.
Yeah, that one would...
Exactly. That was our original plan, but I figured since we're already talking about the anime, it's kind of like double billing if now we also do the Sonic X comics, so I figured we'd do it after we finish with the anime.
Yeah.
Speaking of cartoons and such, we haven't heard any new info regarding Sonic Prime, have we?
Nope.
Nope. It's kind of just stuck in development hell, apparently.
Yeah, with the shit regarding Netflix, you don't know if it's going to come out at all now.
Oh,
that's a painful question, yeah. Oh, well, I guess we have the Knuckles series still, so...
Yeah.
That's what I kind of feel like. Like, if Sonic Prime doesn't go through it, then I figure they just scrapped it in favor of doing the Knuckles spin-off series for the Sonic film.
Yeah, Sonic series aren't very lucky recently, even with the Sonic Boom always getting in bad time slots and all that. So
bad times, and of course it didn't even help with the advertising. Like, when season 1 came out, like even the official Sonic Twitter account, they advertised, like, "Oh yeah, Sonic Boom season 1 is here, check it out." And then when season 2 came out, they didn't bother advertising it. They didn't bother announcing, like, "Oh, it's moved to Boomerang now." It's just nope. They just acted like it didn't exist.
Yeah, I was really confused how little the Twitter account really advertises stuff. I mean, it did barely talk about Mario and Sonic at the Olympics either, but yeah, I guess it's some sort of official corporation rules or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, then again, the official Sonic Twitter account is nothing but memes, and that's it. Which is sad.
Yeah. But okay, back to Sonic Fleetway. We did actually get it a little bit in the Netherlands. I remember specifically because it's one of the free only Sonic merchandise I ever found here. But I think, but only the Sonic stories, not the other Sega stories. They were compiled into albums up until the issue 10, I think. So I did read the first 10 issues of Sonic stories here in the Netherlands. But the translation was really bad. They had like the wrong text balloons translated in the wrong place. So I was constantly confused. So I'm glad to finally read the original stories, what it's all about. But yeah, I think we gave enough introduction now. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
Yeah, but it's a little intense. I mean, the robots look very awesome in some comics. Like Luke said, it reminded him of Judge Dredd, didn't you?
Did I say that? I think some of the later robot swap bots kind of have a bit of a Judge Dredd feel to it, especially like General Brutus. Yeah, and even this in the very first issue, there's this giant ring-sucking machine that looks straight out of a 2000s AD comic.
I absolutely love the grumpy Robotnik logos on the robots. Like usually, I prefer when he has a big goofy smile, but him looking angry is also kind of funny. Yeah. It's like the robot isn't intimidating enough, and he needs an extra angry Robotnik face on it as well.
Oh yeah, that was another detail I forgot to mention with Sonic X. Like with the egg carrier having the Eggman symbol, it's a frowning Eggman instead of a happy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed it doesn't look that accurate.
Yeah, it just looks so weird seeing that logo frowning that way.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I don't think I have a screenshot of it. Oh well, but yeah, we're getting distracted yet again. Sorry. Fleetway Sonic. That we barely have to talk about it because they're very short stories, I guess. Does anyone want to give a synopsis? Because the first story, like someone already said, is just about a ring-sucking machine, and Sonic destroys it in one hit, and that's it. It's mostly just gameplay stuff. I mean, that's kind of what bothers me about Fleetway in general. Like, all the comics are just kind of gameplay stuff. You're Sonic
Well-
destroying Batniks.
Yeah.
You're Shinobi going into a building and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a very basic story that you think would just be made just to advertise the games.
Pretty much, yeah.
And also, in the very early Sonic comic issues, the artwork is a little bit on the crude side, but it did
Very much.
improve a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Depends on the artist, but yeah, this one is kind of basic.
Yeah.
I like we get Pork Lewis. It's going to be a main character later. We get his big introduction here, and there's almost nothing. It's just, here's Porker Lewis. Like, okay. Pew.
And him just saying like, he's my hero.
Ah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, this was like one of the few Sonic official medias where they decided to have like the animal critters from the games actually become like more main characters, because in other medias, like SatAM or other stuff, they had like different characters being the main cast.
Well, to be fair, I think the set the MCast was based on the critters. They just gave it more like Sonic-esque proportions. So that
That is. Yeah, mostly like Rotor and Bunny and Sally. They're mostly based off the animal critters. Antoine, I'm not sure about, because I don't recall there being a coyote critter in the Genesis games.
Oh, might have been.
Yeah.
I think there was a dog, but
Oh, you'd probably be
oh,
Mutsky.
I
Yeah.
never put together that Rotor is based off of Rocky.
Yep.
That makes so much sense now.
Yep.
And Sally was based on Ricky or something with them. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
Ricky.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because Ricky is a squirrel, while Sally is technically more of a chipmunk.
Yeah.
Oh, well, close enough, I guess. Speaking of Sally, she actually does show up in Fleetway, which shocked me. I didn't know there was.
Yeah,
Sally
she
Acorn.
too, and people, and also she doesn't. She looks incredibly different.
Yeah, it's Sally in
Yeah.
name only, but still, I was kind of surprised. So I guess I really
Yeah.
did push Sally Acorn to being an actual main character in Sonic before Amy
Yeah.
completely took her over.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotta say, Sally and her brother look horrifying.
Yeah,
I
They
guess
kinda
we'll
remind
get
me
there
of-
later.
Yeah,
A
they
bit
kind of remind
dumpy
me of
looking.
like... Yeah, they look like Mr. Nuts. That weird Genesis game there.
I guess.
Yeah,
we'll
well, there's an
probably get
obscure
there.
reference for you.
Yeah, I know that game. That was a pretty good game, actually. Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Nuts. What a weird final word. But yeah, one detail I found very interesting is there's also like game reviews, so it's kind of like a fun blast of the past. But the very first game review that shows up in the Sonic comics is Tom and Jerry the movie, which is kind of like a personal, interesting thing to me because this is Tom and Jerry the movie for the Game Gear is the video game that made me interested in video games. Because I played video games before, but at that time I had an obsession with cars, so I did play Outrun, but I wasn't really interested in the game itself. But it was the first platform game I ever played. I immediately fell in love with video games, so it's kind of weird personal detail for me that this, out of all games, is the very first review that shows up in the Sonic magazine.
Yeah, that was surprising. These Fleetway Sonic comics or magazines having game reviews.
Yeah, it's really a magazine. It's like a Sega magazine with just
Yeah.
comics as a bonus. So that's,
What I mostly remember about reading issue 1 is that in the speed line sections, there's a very obviously fake letter from a supposedly very old-fashioned grumpy person called Mr. Old Fash, and complaining about like, oh, not another computer magazine. Are there any more other subjects that young people want to read about these days? Oh, I can't be poison the world with more of this mindless junk. So thinking, oh god.
I've always been interested in how they
yeah.
could already have letters in the very first issue. It's like they already have fans now. That's,
Yeah, that is weird, because I imagine this came out like during the very early years of Sonic's introduction in the...
Yeah, but besides that, this is the first issue of the magazine.
Yeah.
So who's sending the letters to a
And my
magazine
guess
that
is
doesn't exist
they
yet?
might have promoted this comic before, and maybe in like in other kids' magazines or newspapers or something, and asking people to send in letters.
Yeah, I guess so.
Probably.
Although maybe they're fake. Who knows?
Who knows? These are like over 30 years old, yeah.
There's like this fan art of a Sega Game Gear with Sonic, and it kind of reminds me of a dumb story from my youth. Like, I had a Game Gear as a kid, and I wanted to bring it to school to show off, but I wasn't allowed by my mom. So I hatched up this plan to just draw the Game Gear and pretend it's a real one. This is a really stupid plan that only makes sense in the brain of a 5-year-old. I never did it, actually, because I probably embarrassed myself. But this drawing kind of reminded me of my stupid plan.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
our first story. Yeah, first story is pretty basic, but of course, with being a magazine, this is actually not the first, not the only story in this kind of format.
Yeah, there's also Shinobi breaking into a mansion, and the Golden Axe, just characters beating each other up. I was surprised how violent it is. It's like blood, and this guy's just hacked apart. It's like, whoa, and that in a Sonic magazine?
Yeah, because I definitely remembered in one of the later comics with a Shinobi, in which they managed to catch Shinobi, but he manages to get free of his bonds and jumps up into the air, avoiding like one of the goons shooting at him, and he ends up shooting one of the other guys. It's like, no, don't, and he just gets shot multiple times and he just dies. And I'm like, shit.
And that in the Sonic magazine, yeah.
Yeah.
The British aren't screwing around.
Yeah, I always figured the British and Europeans were a little more looser with the kind of violent stuff, unlike how stuck up it is in America.
That's
true.
Yeah, and also it got in the Golden Axe comics, the three characters would make random quips and puns. Like you have Gilius Thunderhead throwing a rat burger at an enemy.
Oh yeah.
Because they have to give it some personality. The game never did.
Here, little chops, have a rat burger.
Cheesy stuff. Nice 80s. And again, shockingly violent. I mean, later the pet of the hero just dies and drowns in the ocean. Kind of like a never-ending story. It's kind of a dark scene for a Sonic comic as well. Very interesting. But yeah, I guess we move on to the second Fleetway comic, the second story of Sonic, more crudely drawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can do the synopsis for this one.
Okay.
Alright, so in the second issue, it focuses on Sonic doing his usual stuff, beating badniks and freeing friends, but right now he's trying to find Tails because he's gone missing for a few days. And it turns out that Robotnik has captured him and turned him into a cyborg, so now he sends him after to fight off Sonic. So the two do get out, but Tails manages to snap out of it, and helps defeat Robotnik, as well as break off his robot armor. So Sonic and Tails are now reunited. And yeah, that's pretty much the story there.
It's crudely drawn, but it looks very cute, so it's still kind of...
Yeah, and also you have Sonic spending most of the time wearing sunglasses because this is the 90s and he's supposed to be really radical and cool.
Or Ken Penders wrote this, and it's actually Scourge.
Oh yeah, wearing sunglasses. Well, then again, Sonic always usually wore sunglasses in those old promo arts and whatnot.
But also in this issue, he's wearing some different sneakers, and obviously at the end, he's realized he's worn them out, and he's like, "Oh, I've worn them out. No, I'm very sad." It's just it's just that his face, "Oh, I was hoping to use these more often." Oh well.
Also,
it's like he just doesn't give a shit there.
He looks absolutely awful in that last frame.
Yeah.
It's almost like I drew it, yeah.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. Someone trying to, probably how Sonic would be today. It's we got to try and make Sonic look sad, but how do we do that? And it's someone says try like this, and he's like, brilliant.
But yeah, it's kind of...
Sorry, you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the roboticization of Tails is very strange because, he's, supposed to be a cyborg, but it's really just armor. So, what was that even doing?
An exoskeleton suit, as he calls it.
Ah, yeah.
And of course, we have to make a reference to Lost World, where the same happens to Tails.
Yeah, but of course the big difference is that Fleetway Sonic actually does something with the idea of Tails being roboticized and working for Robotnik, while Lost World does jack shit with the idea.
Yep.
I also want to point out something about what Robotnik says near the end when he gets away, where he goes, "What I can cope with but two, I'd rather watch a whole episode of El Dorado." Right, what El Dorado is that it was a really terrible soap drama released in the late 80s and early 90s. It was very badly made, with really shoddy sets, with awful sound effects. It was just so badly made.
Sounds great. We must watch an episode next stream.
You can find it the intro of it, but it has that really cheesy 80s feel to it.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah,
What, like
that,
neighbors?
yeah, that was definitely a joke that completely flew by me because I don't think we had ever surfaced in America.
Didn't
Yeah,
ring a
no.
bell with
Yeah.
me either. Oh, British humor. It's a British comic, so get your British references. But El Dorado is Spanish, right? Mexican? Oh, well.
I believe it's some kind of holiday resort. I'm not exactly sure where.
Oh, I see.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
what's that Junk Lee series again?
40 Towers?
Fawlty Towers, but the 80s version.
Well, I suppose it's like Benidorm, but a really low budget.
All right.
Yeah, because the only thing related to El Dorado that I'm more familiar with is the DreamWorks film, which is
Yeah.
sure completely different from what you guys are talking about.
I mean, I think from the show itself, it probably had no budget.
So yeah, best
Oh,
off watching the cartoon indeed. That's a pretty awesome movie, but didn't exist when this comic was written. So alas.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a review of Night Trap. That surprised me. So that's a
Yeah,
nice,
that was
interesting piece of history.
Oh yeah.
Well, at least the magazine enjoyed it. So there you go. Of course,
Yeah.
Night Trap is a famous game for causing all the people to get upset about the violence, or because you're creeping on girls having a party at home. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
old
Which
FMV
goes-
game for the
Yeah.
old FMV game for Sega CD that years later would surprisingly get ported to the Switch for some reason.
Because it's
And
infamous, I
it's
guess.
Yeah.
it's so infamous. It's actually one of the 2 games that was responsible for the creation of the ESRB.
Mortal Kombat in this game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat and Night Trap.
Yeah,
And I
is
guess
weird
Doom didn't help
because-
either.
Which is weird because Night Trap is incredibly tame.
yeah.
by today's standards.
yeah. Like the first time I ever heard of Night Trap was it was this old series on G4 TV. It was called Cinematech, and it was like, oh, it's a video game thing. They show off like footage, gameplay, and stuff. So they usually did like top 10 or just lists of games of different themes. So in one episode they had, oh, these are the worst games of all time, and they had Night Trap on there, and that was my first introduction to the old FMV game.
There you go. But yeah, that makes reading Fleetway so interesting. You get all these pieces of extra history to it. Like, it's not just a Sonic comic. Like, you're really back in the 90s. So going
I'm also noticed in in news sections it said something about a Sega mouse, and I was just wondering how many games did that support?
That's a good question. Like,
Oh, I did not know that. I know there was the Nintendo mouse and the PlayStation mouse, but I had no idea the Genesis had one as well.
I knew there was a Dreamcast keyboard for House of the Dead, but mouse, yeah. I mean, maybe they also had SimCity games or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of obscure stuff in it. There was also something about a weird Sonic booklet I saw. Or was it a third magazine, I think? Oh yeah, and the Sonic weather balloon off a big windbag. Also, never saw that before. It's really awesome to see all those little pieces of history.
Yeah. It's a good thing people have archived them.
Yep. So I can imagine Melting Man now scribbling in notes like, oh, here's a bunch of obscure stuff I need to change after.
Yeah. Well, I haven't found any just yet with Fleetway's run with the scans that I found.
Oh, there was something about a booklet, but I can't find the screenshot anymore. Oh, here, right. So something, Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure Game Book, Zone Rangers. So maybe
Oh
that's
yeah,
something.
the game book. I think someone actually sent me a few scans of that. There's like this whole chapter book series of Sonic Adventures. So, but yeah, there are so many Sonic literature books like outside of the comics. There's like novels, chapter books, children's books, and yeah, it's quite the task trying to like collect them all or at least find scans of them.
You have
so
to
I can-
find them because we have to use them for our stream. So we can go on
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, and I'm still busy trying to get Sonic Dash and Spin fully translated, which right now I contacted Pocket Oni, got one of the guest stars that showed up on the stream. I contacted him to help out because I seem to have lost contact with my previous translator.
Okay, good luck with that.
Hmm.
Anyway, oh yeah, I noticed that they already had a great the Green Hill Zone obsession here. I mean, both comics we read for Sonic Fleetway so far are supposed to take place after Sonic 2, but it's still all taking place in Green Hill. And they even have like a cheat code section. How do you get level select in Sonic Dash 2 for the Master System? And then the screenshot is just Green Hill Zone of Mega Drive. It's like, oh, even here, they just force it in places it doesn't belong. It started all the way here.
Well, I mean, it was still the very early days of Sonic, so of course they would have like Green Hill Zone and Marble Zone show up. So at least they would actually do something with it, unlike say like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, where it's just here's Mario in a parody of Star Wars or a parody of Moby Dick and all that shit. Yeah,
That's true. At least they're using the Sonic universe. So credit to them. And of course, with only 2 games in the bag, they didn't have much to work with yet. Anyway, let's go to the third comic, where, like we said before, Sally Acorn shows up. And her brother, apparently, in this universe.
Okay.
And very awesome artwork. Anyone wants to do synopsis?
I guess I'll do this one.
Okay, then.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're in Marble Zone now, with a whole bunch of badniks, including a very phallic-looking bat brain. And they have Princess Sally's brother Tufty in a hole, and they just keep threatening to throw a checker wrecker ball on him, and they never do.
Yeah.
And so then we go to Sonic. He's sitting under a tree listening to music. They can't hear him, so Tails decides the best way to get his attention is to kick him in the ass. And that lets him listen to Princess Sally crying about her brother. Sonic deduces that he must have stolen his old shoes, and goes off to find him, and goes through a loop, gets a bunch of rings, accidentally goes to Special Zone, I guess.
It's a shortcut.
And then,
because going to an extra level is a shortcut somehow.
it's funny that he just, like, accidentally goes to Special Zone. That's funny. Anyway, so, yeah, Tufty's somehow got out of the hole. Somehow. They had the opportunity. They had him dead to rights, just hanging the wrecker ball over him, and he somehow gets out of the hole, and they capture him, and he runs away, and he slams into a wall because he's stupid. And then I guess they have like a giant roboticization robot with them, and then Sonic shows up, destroys all the robots except for a Motobug who runs away. It says, "I'd much rather swim in lava than get caught by him." But of course Sonic catches up to him, but it was a trap, and there's Marble Zone spikes, and it just goes down and doesn't even hit the Motobug, so I guess that wasn't even a problem. Sonic destroys the Motobug by lightly tapping it on the head, and then he steals his shoes back from the squirrel. And yeah, this was a very weird comic.
Very nicely drawn, though.
Yeah.
I love the art style.
Yeah, definitely a lot. It definitely looks a lot better than issue 2, except for Sally and Tufty, who are nightmare fuel.
He sure look a bit dumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how like oh yeah, there's one thing that Archie and Fleetway actually have in common, and that's Sally has a brother. Except in Archie, it's Elias Acorn who has his own history. But yeah, here I think it's just this one-off character named Tufty. It's like it's a squirrel with a aviator hat or whatever.
I guess it's not really supposed to be Princess Sally, it's just a name only. I mean, I guess comparable with the one from Christmas Blast.
Yeah.
Fake Sally.
Also, Tails looks very off on the last page.
He looks older.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I guess he
Looks
must
like
have
a
hit
young
puberty
adult,
while waiting.
Yeah, he's only now 20.
But yeah, like the captain said, it's kind of funny how they keep switching up how they're torturing Tufty. Like, they can already kill him, and it's like, no, you know what, we're gonna throw you in lava. No, you know what, we're gonna threaten you with a robot. Like, the Badniks can't even decide.
They just love to torture
Yeah,
the
it's
guy.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like decisions. Do we squish him with our giant wrecking ball, throw him in lava, turn him into a robot? Decisions. I'd probably just squish him with a wrecking ball and then throw his remains into the lava, then blow up the lava.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of, like, making, the captain happy. Like, he's gone and he's no longer going to feel weirded out by their looks.
He's so creepy looking.
And it's so pathetic how Sonic can indeed just destroy those Badniks, but just kind of slightly punching him, making Tufty look even more pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hero.
Oh well. He's just a civilian. Can't blame him for not being super heroic, I suppose.
Mhm.
Even though he brought himself in this situation.
Yeah. Also, like, it's weird because like Sonic's shoes gave Tufty super speed, but like it was revealed in the last issue that like Sonic doesn't need the shoes to go fast. So what's the point of the shoes?
Well, maybe the shoes that Tufty stole, maybe those were just like weird prototypes. Like, oh, these actually give you speed, and then Sonic learns like, oh no, the speed comes inside me, or whatever.
Maybe it helps.
Yeah,
Please don't
and,
phrase
and
it that way.
at the end, you got like Sonic having a go at Tuff. It's like, don't mess with my shit. There's only one Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was that was another thing I remembered the most back then was how people kept saying like, "Oh, Sonic's written terribly. He's an asshole in the Fleetway Sonic comics."
Yeah.
But it's like, well, no one like British or European culture is like, it's a bit different than how it is here in America.
So far, he's not been too bad, but yeah.
And also, you got to remember that Sonic is meant to be portrayed to being a person with 90s attitude, being a bit of a
Yeah.
rude
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
That's right.
Because I mean, in the first like few issues, he's like almost sort of like a blank canvas in a way because they weren't sure what to do with him, and then when they saw the promotion stuff saying Sonic the Hedgehog with attitude, and they literally just took the attitude and just gave it to him, which has always been like a hit and miss to many people because like, oh, I like this version of Sonic. I was like, oh, I don't like this Sonic. He's such a dick to everyone, including Tails. I hate the bastard. Kill him.
yeah, the whole thing with attitude. Yeah, it definitely changes over time with oh, what's the cool, hot, trendy thing, and especially nowadays, like, oh, the hot, cool, trendy thing is constantly being self-aware.
Well, we'll see how it's written later, but I think that the key point with attitude is how other characters react to it. Because if other people like fight back to it, it's not too bad. But if everyone just immediately like folds down and Sonic just is super awesome all the time, oh Sonic, you're so amazing! Oh, shut up, asshole! Like, then it's a bit of a problem. That's my issue with Pontac. Like he has an attitude, but nobody like even reacts to it. Everyone just immediately takes it on face value. And that's one that bothers me. Like, if the others kind of bite back, and I know Amy kind of will, then it's not too bad. But yeah, we'll see how the writing goes. But yeah, not much else to say. I mean, we get to see Sonic as a giant weather balloon. Not the weather balloon, just a regular balloon, sorry.
Yeah. Sonic the weather balloon.
Weather balloon.
The Adventures of Sonic the Weather Balloon.
I'm not sure why I keep saying that, sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's our real screenshots for Sonic Wonders of the World.
Yeah. Sonic the windbag.
Yeah.
That's how they say it.
Oh no! It just makes me think of like if you look too deep in DeviantArt.
Oh no.
Oh, inflation fetish. Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm sure some people will love to have this balloon, yeah.
Yeah, that old tired out gag. And yet no one brings up Fur Affinity because they have the same thing too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because DeviantArt is more well known and less creepy.
And I guess DeviantArt is made for it. I guess Fur Affinity you might argue, like, well, that's exactly what you expect there. Well, DeviantArt is supposed to be like a normal art side, but whatever. I don't care.
I think that is the reason. Like, yeah, DeviantArt is just a lot more like open and stuff, even if the admins are shit. So, yeah.
Whatever. People gonna people. I'm not gonna
Wait,
judge.
But yeah, now that I brought that up with the whole Wonders of the World thing, like I just realized we never really got to hear Captain Theory's thoughts on those canceled Sonic movies that we mentioned in that one stream.
Oh, that's sound like.
I don't really have any.
Ah,
Well, there you go.
well, there's your answers, folks.
I kind of catch him off guard. I guess we have to give him more context first.
Sorry.
Are you talking about Sonic Armageddon by any chance? Is that one of them?
Yes.
Yeah, one of them is canceled, and the other one is called Sonic Wonders of the World. That's like the canceled Sonic film that was very 90s from what we saw from the rough draft.
I've not heard of that one, but Sonic Armageddon looked absolutely awful, as you would expect from the person who's in charge of it.
Yeah, especially the teaser trailer that he slapped.
Yeah, that was so laughably bad.
Yeah, it was so bad. Like, I've seen college projects more professional than this shit.
I've seen cartoons I made that. No, I'm not gonna finish that.
Well, hey, Sonic Movie Madness will always be superior over Sonic Armageddon.
Ah, that's nice of you to say that.
Because it's actually been made.
Yeah, true.
There's a start.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we got Monster Boys, an extra comic. Like I can't much say about it. I haven't played the games much, except the Adventure Island one, first one, and the final one, Aisha's.
Yeah, it's surprising they feature a lot of. Yeah, it's surprising they feature a lot of comic stories off of other Sega or Genesis properties. Because we got Golden Axe, Shinobi. I think for a while they did a Decap Attack.
Well,
and
coming later.
The Attack is like the longest of the non-Sonic sort of Sega-related comics.
Why?
I don't know. I guess they just really liked it.
Yeah, but it's kind of also interesting because like they even include stories that aren't exactly Sega-related. I mean, they were released for the console, but they were also released on like some other systems, like like Soccer Boy and I believe even Sparkster.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also the humor in that comic was quite good as well, and you can imagine it as an animated series, like something out of like Count Duckula or Doctor Zipbags.
Oh yeah. So I think it's because of how the artist actually draws that makes it all look so very cartoony. Like it could be something that could be animated.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I checked the letters at the end again. I saw a couple interesting. Sorry, Melting One, you want to say something?
I was just saying with the different stories they did of the other properties. So I think from what I can remember, they did like, all this and that, and I was kind of left bummed. It's like, oh, no Vector Man comic, that would have been cool. Because I'm a bit of a fanboy with Vector Man. Because it's freaking Vector Man!
He's pretty cool, yeah. He's been done dirty, unfortunately.
Yeah, poor guy.
One thing I found interesting is a review of Monster Boy. They kind of said, well, Monster Boy is being more successful than Sonic. He has more games than him. It's like, oh, that's a statement you could only say in 1992.
Yep.
Oh, well, they couldn't know. But yeah, well, like I was saying, like the letters at the end of this comic I found very interesting because we saw the dawn of a lot of cliches we'll be seeing later. Like here, a fan complaining that Tails is way more interesting than Sonic. It's like, well, Shadow and Knuckles in started. Tails was the first one. He already started to be more interesting Sonic. And it's kind of interesting for me to see like fan art because like Sonic didn't have too many other characters yet, so they still had to use the flickies as to fill up the whole area a bit. Like, here are the other lovable friends Sonic has. It's all these generic flickies.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool seeing fan art. It definitely reminds me of the days of Archie Sonic, where they had Sonic Grams, where it was a similar thing. They would they answered questions that the fans had, and they'd feature fan art they did. And eventually, I think IDW also started doing that as well. Yeah,
that's true. And it's a great way to kind of jump back in time. Like, oh, what did fans think back then?
Yeah.
Before they had a lot of stuff like Shadow and all that took over, became important elements.
and the meta era.
And the meta era, yep. Yeah, that's the fun part. Like the comics are kind of generic so far, although they will become much more interesting when we get more into the origin and all that. But so far, like just jumping back in the past in 1992 and seeing all the reviews and what people thought back then is kind of interesting. You want to say something, Ewan? Sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you and such.
And did I hear Luke try to say something?
Oh no, I just started thinking about like the way Sonic has been portrayed today. Yes, in those examples, he was a bit of a dick to Tails, but over time, he has become a lot more respectful to his friends.
Fair enough. That gives him an opportunity for character development, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it gives people who are not familiar with the comic the wrong misconception, like, oh, Sonic in this comic was always an arsehole, but which is definitely not the case.
Well, he hasn't been in the 3 issues we've seen so far, but like Ewan said, I guess they added that part later.
Yeah, that's always an annoying thing with a lot of misconceptions with the Sonic comics. Because, Fleetway, oh, Sonic's always an asshole, but there's some character development. And especially with Archie, that's always been a subject of misconception and false information.
Well, that's why we're reading through them again, so we can refresh our memories or discover it for the first time, because this is the first time for me going through them. So I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to... I have an open mind.
But yeah, it's nice to It's nice to be able to refresh my memory with this, because it's been a while. I think the only ones I haven't gotten around to were the specials, which I know there's only a small handful of them. But even then, I was still trying to figure out, like, okay, which ones have new stories and which ones just have reprints. So I'm still trying to figure that out.
But yeah, I think that about concludes it for now. So anyone wants to give us some sort of epilogue on Fleetway Sonic? Any final statements?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't have to say.
I mean, I could, with the issues I have, where it does have a very interesting, a bit of a more darker take on Sonic's world. I mean, this series has a much darker version of Robotnik. I mean, in the later issues, they used the version of Robotnik from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but they gave him the personality of Sonic Satiem's Robotnik, making him an evil megalomaniacal tyrant. And what also I like about this comic is that it has perhaps my favourite version of Evil Sonic, which is Super Sonic. And as I wasn't familiar with the games at the time, I learned about it from a mate of mine. I assumed this is what Super Sonic is like in the games, where he's like an evil psychopath.
The interesting thing is that Sonic Movie 2 kind of played with the same idea. They brought up the idea that Sonic could like lose himself and become psychopathic if he became Super Sonic.
Yeah, like gave him god powers.
Yeah, even though they didn't go that way, but they were almost toying with the idea that Sonic could have turned into Fleetway Super Sonic if he didn't add Tom and all that, keeping him down to Earth. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah, that was a unique idea with Fleetway Sonic, with how Sonic becomes just corrupt with power when he goes into a supersonic form.
Yeah, it kind of has that Jekyll and Hyde thing to it.
Fair enough.
All right.
But yeah, we'll find out whenever we come to it. But yeah, I know we'll later get into the Kintobor stuff and then becomes more darker. So far, it's just been fluffy and kind of innocent so far.
Yeah, fluffy, and especially with Robotnik still donning his classic design. His redesign doesn't happen until later.
Yep, so lots to look forward to. I think in later streams we'll do more than 3 issues, because I wasn't quite sure what to expect yet. So now we had to introduce the whole thing. So I'm not sure how many we'll do next time. 6?
Yeah, 5 or 6, I think.
Perhaps 6, yeah.
Fair enough.
One thing we should probably talk about before we wrap up for the day is the new Sonic game that popped up out of nowhere, Sonic Speed Simulator on Roblox.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a surprise, especially surprising that I'm actually enjoying it. It's like incredibly basic, but it's really fun actually. So like basically the entire game is just you getting experience to level up, and the more you level up, the faster you go. And like that's kind of cool, but like it seems as if there is actually no limit to how high your level can get, so you can just keep getting faster and faster.
Oh boy,
wow.
That's a big.
So can you actually like reach ludicrous speed?
Yes, absolutely.
Now he needs to go to Plaid.
Get Rick
Even
Moranis away
faster
from
than
you.
the speed sections in Sonic 06.
Yes.
Sonic Unleashed speed.
Faster, like it's insane how fast you can go in this game. My current max level is I think 700 or so.
Is the world big enough to contain you then? How big is this world?
No, these worlds are tiny compared to how fast you can actually go.
Oh, that sucks.
So like but like that's part of it is just like at that point you can't like rely on your eyes. You have to just like memorize the place, and you just try and find a big stretch of land that you know you can run fast through. And like so in Green Hill Zone there's 6 loops. There's 3 small ones and 3 big ones, and one of them has like a vertical drop afterwards, and you can get a ton of speed off of that. And just like once you're at the top of the loop, you go into a roll. By the time you're at the bottom, you are going super fast, like uncontrollably fast, and it's really cool.
So you're breaking the game. All right.
Yeah, it's I've actually gone so fast I've clipped through walls.
Oh wow.
I got stuck inside of a loop. It's pretty interesting, but it's actually it's harmless fun. I like it. I definitely recommend trying it out. It's free, and it's kind of fun.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I saw some gameplay footage of the Roblox thing, and yeah, it is interesting. It definitely took me by surprise that the hub theme that they use is actually a green grove from the Saturn version of Sonic 3D Blast, and that was a real surprise because I mentioned in a different video with how overshadowed the Saturn soundtrack is compared to how common the Genesis soundtrack is.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and and just recently, I found this out today. Was they? I think they dropped an update of the characters getting like new costume skins, and apparently there's this sailor outfit that Tails has, and apparently it's a reference to like an old Japanese Tails plush toy. I can't remember where it's from, but yeah, it's an interesting deep cut reference there.
Yeah, that update just came out today. They're trying to do an update to the game every Saturday, and last week
nice.
They added Knuckles, and so I guess this week they added in the little Tails costume, which I will definitely be getting right after we're done streaming.
And right after we're done streaming, Melting Man's gonna demand Tikal to be a playable character in this game.
Well, if I can't get her in Sonic Dash, then maybe I'll try and get her in a simulator game. But it depends if I feel like getting Roblox just for the Sonic stuff.
There you go.
It's definitely worth trying it.
Sure, maybe I'll try it. I still have to try the Minecraft game too. I'm behind. I'm such a bad Sonic
Yeah.
player.
Well, you're
Yeah, I
too
think the
busy with
Minecraft.
yeah, but you're just like too busy with your Sonic Robo Blast 2 building and such.
Of course.
Oh yeah,
Making my own
animations and
junk.
everything. I know the Minecraft one did featured a few updates. Like they featured skins based off of the Sonic movie characters. So you got like Long Claw, you got Sonic and Tails in their winter outfits, and they added a new zone which is a labyrinth zone. And in there you have to collect like the pieces of the Master Emerald. So there seems to be a lot more references because they also expanded the hub area of Tails' garage. So like there's a different section where now you see like the Egg Robos from Sonic Mania and other references from the different games.
Well, that's paradise for you. References, nice. But yeah, I love how Tails' garage looked in that game. Yeah. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No?
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. But yeah, so highly recommended the Roblox game from Captain. I haven't played it, so I can't give my thoughts on it. But yeah, I love the GameCube look of the models. It kind of makes me nostalgic. Why do I like the old models more than the new ones? A little more.
Well, as you said,
I guess it's just nostalgia.
I guess so. Nostalgia from an old man. How pathetic. Well, so plenty of stuff for us to enjoy. So we Sonic fans shouldn't be complaining, although we still will, because that's how we roll.
Yeah, well, at least this time the classic Sonic fans are complaining with all the drama going on with Sonic Origins. So at least we don't feel that outcasted.
Oh
Yeah.
well. Well, looking forward to that too. Interesting how the story will go, and yeah, we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time with more Fleetway and more Sonic X.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So yeah, bye bye everyone.
Goodbye.
Here we go.